Thank you very much. It is an exciting time for all of us. I'm very happy that we have distinguished people in the panel, particularly our main speaker, Dr. Pankaj Mittal, who is the Secretary General of Association of Indian Universities now. I wish to start the discussion from her end because she is the one who has 3 decades of experience in higher education. She has already worked in UGC. Now, through AIU, she is in touch with very important institutions of higher educations, like, for example, Niti Ayog. Then her efforts in implementing the new education policy. And not only that, as she has taken over as Secretary General, we are seeing many activities through AIU, where the industry, academia, orientation, then related to internationalization of the education, and her own way she has full experience as an administrator, being a vice chancellor of first Mahila University in North India. So I wish that her experience is very going to be important for us in starting this particular discussion and giving a real thought on how exactly the future skills are going to play important role in making our students, means because the main stakeholders of our entire discussion are the youths, and India being considered as a superpower in coming years in the field of education, as well as in skill, as well as in the field of entrepreneurship, innovations, and all that. I wish to listen from her that being a part of or at the helm of the affairs of managing all these things at a very important stage, because we are facing this particular challenge. One more addition, because of the COVID pandemic, the things are becoming changed in the situation. So, how Madam thinks that the future skills, what orientation our higher education institutions have to take, and what is her own perspectives with the association with these important organizations of our country. Madam Mittal, Madam.
Thank you, Professor Naik, and thanks for inviting me on this panel. A very, very important discussion and a very important topic, that what the future of education or future of universities is going to be like. I mean, how do we envisage what the future would be? And here I do remember that something about 100 years back, Einstein in 1905, he gave a question paper to his students. And when the teaching assistant saw the question paper, he said that, sir, is there a mistake? Because the same question paper you gave to the same set of questions, the same set of students, the last year also. So how can you give the same question paper? Einstein said the question paper is the same, but the answers are different. Why? Because in 1904, Einstein published 4 papers on, say, theory of relativity is equal to mc square, Brownian motion, and all. And that changed the very paradigm of physics education. And therefore, the questions were the same, but the answers were different. Similarly, in our country, before NEP and before Corona, the questions were the same: what to teach, how to teach. I mean, what methodology should be used to teach, and how to assess the student. But the answers are entirely different. So now a lot of emphasis will be given on the technology, a lot of emphasis will be given on blended education. You have seen that when the pandemic struck, none of our universities were prepared for online education. But slowly, our teachers started learning the art of teaching online. But still, I do feel that how to teach effectively in the online mode is still missing from many of our teachers. So there is a need to adapt technology on how to teach, how to assess the students. So the way we teach is totally going to change in the future. The national education policy has also indicated that the way we were teaching, say, using the lecture method, that will change. There will be a flipped classroom method for teaching the students, so that the understanding is better, rationalization is better, analysis is better. And similarly, the way we assess and evaluate the students, that will again change. We have seen that how challenging it was to hold that 3-hour examination at the end of the semester. So the continuous assessment and evaluation of the students will be there. Similarly, there will be a lot of change in the curriculum. So the curriculum which we were teaching, we have seen that with the change of technology, especially with the advent of artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, robotics, now you have seen that people are going to space for the sort of space tourism. So the things are totally going to change in terms of what will be the future job scenario, what will be the skills required in the future. And the major question is, are we, means our universities, equipping our students to take care of that future skill requirement? Are we telling them, or are we teaching them that these are the future skills. These are the skills which you must be having to be employable in future. You know that even in professional programs, there was a survey which said that 78% of the students are unemployable. So that figure may increase in future if we do not take action right now and change the curriculum to the extent that whatever is a future job scenario maybe in 2030, that should be taught to the students right now and in the proper manner, means adopting flipped classroom model using technology, and also using a lot of collaborative efforts through maybe many foreign universities or even national universities, which is now possible because of the use of technology, which we are becoming more used to. Means now it's easier for us to make use of the technology to teach our students, assess our students, to say even internships or apprenticeship or whatever, train our students. So a lot of technology will be used in the future universities.
Thank you, madam, for this. Actually, you are almost representing the government of India in this particular panel. So, our country, after the independence, had a major target of eradicating the illiteracy. And then we had a very bigger challenge of expansion of higher education institutions, equity, then involvement of all the communities. And since last almost 10 years, we were concentrating on quality of education. So there is a growth in this direction, and we have some success stories, some failures. But when we think of this future, which you rightly said now, is the job opportunities and skill enhancement. So how the government is prepared now to take these challenges with regard to future skills, and what exactly higher education institutions have to prepare for that?
See, government is very much aware of these future requirements. Therefore, at all levels, like in Niti Aayog, there was a group made to form that how the future, how the what will be the requirements in future of the. I mean, what type of skills will be required in future? They should be listed out, and how the government is going to impart those skills to the students in terms of, say, infrastructure which is required, and also in terms of the capacity building of the teachers, because you can very easily change the curriculum, but who will teach that curriculum? So that is also very important. So both the equipment, curriculum, and the capacity building of teachers all was being taken care of in that report. And also the All India Council for Technical Education, the chairman AICT Professor Anil Sahasrabuddhe is very active, and he is also looking into it that all the skills which are required in future, they are taught to the students so that they become future friendly and future employable. So I think the government is investing in the technology as well as in the curriculum development and in the capacity building of the teachers. So all the three areas are being taken care of.
Thank you, madam. Now, as I rightly said, and you also quickly answered on the how government is prepared. Now, in this particular scenario, we have a lot of private people. They are coming, both from our own country as well as from outside the country. Private universities are also now taking a part in this particular revolution. We have amongst us Mr. Dhruv Mathur now, who is representing such a company where online education is the priority, and also they are the one who are also involved in skill oriented programs, how they can be given with the help of the people who are now coming as private players. Dhruv Mathur, who is a alumni of Delhi University with his MBA degree, he is there heading the educational vertical of ONS assessment solutions in Asia and Pacific, and also Middle East. He has a multinational experience in skill oriented programs, and he has also got an opportunity to work with the government of India programs like NCDC and sector skill councils and all that. So Mr. Dhruv Mathur, being a very important player in the skill improvement program of our country and future skills, and your company has made reports annually that how the skill improvement is going on, and what exactly is the scenario which is going to come up in countries. So according to you, what are the 5 critical priorities in skill education with regard to the preparation of the higher education institutions in India?
Thanks a lot, Dr. Naik. I think thanks a lot for welcoming me here on the event, and good afternoon to everyone. So I think for education institutes, this of course differ based on the which stage they are currently in and the level of tier that they fall in. Aon do an annual employability report and a survey around the same to check that what is the most critical things for education leaders right now. What we found out from that was that among the top 5, we have employability of students is the top most priority for education leaders. Dr. Mittal also talked about it, that 78% are the ones who are not employable. So our report also says very similar. It's 22% who are not employable, and another 21% can become employable if right training and efforts are put on those two particular students. So one is employability of students. Second, I think, again, a very commonly talked about topic around faculty improvements. 85% of education leaders in our survey said that, hey, they want to focus on them faculty upliftment. Very interestingly, one change which has added up from the domain expertise or the personality fit of faculties is how effectively can they train in the current scenario where the things have gone virtual. The entire shift has become very immediate for them. So that's second. Third, very critical again, is how can they map curriculum to future skills and the key skills which are coming out in the market where corporates are hiring. So it's more of a supply and demand gap that they're trying to fill in. We have seen tier 1 colleges already moving in that direction, coming up fast there. A lot of efforts on the tier 3 side is still yet to happen in India. So that's third. Fourth, again, is international collaboration. 65% of the education leaders through our survey said that they want to look at best practices in the market, because I think scenario has changed. Earlier, there was certain curriculum, certain fixed publication houses which were having certain specific content. Now, because of virtualization, things, data, mobile phones, so easily available for these students, they can look at data, they can look at curriculum from multiple global universities as well. So critical for education leaders to bring in the best practices from the global universities as the fourth critical priority. On the fifth one, attracting good quality students in a more virtual environment has been a very critical priority, and this has changed very often because of the entire admission process shifting online. Some good, some pros, some cons out of it, but the interesting pro has been that now they can target a larger audience of students who are eligible to enter their instead of being very location specific. Student doesn't have to carry the paper forms, come to the colleges to get into the selection. The whole process can go virtual. So the entire piece of these 5 dilemmas from an education perspective, I think these are the most critical asks that we have seen through our survey for education leaders, Dr. Naik.
Thank you. But once you have some survey and information ready, which 5 most common niche skills you can recommend so that the higher education institutions will prepare accordingly for, because it is a long time. They have to develop the infrastructure, they have to see the technical staff which will give the training, and also they have to make the curriculum ready. So in this particular aspect, how higher education institutions have to prepare, and what way the companies like yours will come forward to take this particular concept forward?
Mr. Naik, I answer this in 2 ways. One, so I'll speak more from a tech perspective because we work more with colleges and universities on the tech side, on the engineering side of it. What we have seen, and I'll again answer this in 2 ways. What are the most common employability skills that companies have been looking at? Second, what are the new niche skills, and I think the future skill and the entire ambiguity around that, what exactly this future skills mean. I'll also answer that which are the 5 or 6 key ones as per our survey where education leaders can focus on. So on the first one, on the employability side, the 5 most common traits that companies look at, and this comes from a survey of more than 300 plus corporates that Aon works with, is the most common is cognitive. 87% of the companies who hire fresher engineers use cognitive as assessment. Interestingly, what is changing is they're now looking at more gamified or simulation-based cognitive assessment so that they can engage candidates more. So that's one. Second is domain, which is your very specific computer fundamental, your mechanical, depending on which branch the student is from. Interestingly, this has increased from 30% uptake to 65% uptake in the last 3 or 4 years. So that's second. Third is coding, which a lot of product-specific companies like Adobe, HSBC, these companies, while they hire coders, they look at certain simulation-based coding assessments while they look at hiring. Written English, again, is critical for people, for companies who are looking at business communication skills while they hire. Another interesting change that we have seen is personality assessments. And that has shifted from 2019 till now, because now companies are not able to do group discussions or not able to meet the candidate face to face. They are looking at certain personality specific assessment, and the number has increased to 18% from 10% in the year 2019. So interestingly, these are the 5 common skills that companies are looking at. From a niche skill perspective, to answer your question, Dr. Naik, is companies now are looking at data specific role. Companies now are looking at cloud specific roles. And I'm talking about skills. I'll also cover which are the key job roles companies are looking at, but data is critical, cloud is critical, cyber security is critical, customer service specialist is critical. So these are the kind of skills that companies will continue to hire as they go along in the future.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dhruv. So now I come back to Madam again. Madam, because whenever we talk of skills, we mostly concentrate on technical skills, and in that the major share is again with the related to ICT. So it is as Mr. Dhruv was also telling, now the skill scenario has widened to a large extent, and many people even talk that along with this technical and professional skills, the personal skills are becoming very important. Even value education is very important. And even if many people have very good skill, if they are not managing their own emotions, or they are not managing their own way, the situation which they have to face in the practical scenario, what way we are going to actually develop our curriculum? Because new education policy is talking about all these things, multidisciplinary approaches. It also talks about heritage coming into our educational system, value education. So how all these things we club together to make a particular candidate a skill oriented with a personality development attitude, so that he will be quite able in making his job perfect.
You're very right, Professor Naik. That I mean, normally when we talk of skills, we are talking of technical skills, IT skills. But then more important is that whether the student you are making as a maybe good employee, are we making the student as a money earning machine only? Is it only that they should be getting good employment and they should be earning good money and that will be a very good citizen of the country? So therefore, the policy, even the National Education Policy 2020, when it was talking about the personality development of the student, it was saying that the student should be a global citizen. He should be having value education. He should be a good citizen of the country. He should be having a good attitude. Attitude is very, very important. He should be able to work in a team spirit. I mean, teamwork should be there. He should have empathy. He should have love. He should have kindness. He should have, I mean, all these honesty. So all these things are equally important as the domain knowledge or the core area where the student is going to work. Because you must have seen that the students who are having all these values with them, they eventually are more happy. So somebody has said that pursue happiness, don't pursue success. If you pursue happiness, success will come on its own. So we want our nation to be a happy nation. So for a happy nation, we don't have to run after money. We have to have all these skills in the students, which are known as value education, even cultural values, the grand Indian narrative, the student should be proud of that. Yet, like I'm a citizen of India and I should be proud of all these things. So the cultural values, family values, value education, personality development, everything is important, rather more important if you want to become a good citizen and a happy citizen of the country.
Okay, thank you, madam. Continuing with this particular question, because as we know, our human resource has a lot of importance of the gender equality, and we have many universities. You were the vice chancellor of a first Mahila university. I was also registrar of the Karnataka State Women's University.
Okay.
So a very lot of promise is there in that particular sector of our human resource. So when we talk of future skills and looking into the limitations which our especially Indian women has, how you look forward that skill-oriented programs we have to, or skill-oriented future skills curriculum we have to develop?
See, if you talk of gender parity in terms of, say, IT skills, I think Mr. Dhruv will agree with me that there are more women in IT than men. So slowly, women are, I mean, they are gaining ground and they are coming up to that level. STEM, it was mentioned that STEM is, I mean, mostly girls are not going for STEM education. But if you see in India, many girls are going for STEM education. So slowly, the girls are gaining ground and they are being looked upon as equals. Not that, okay, she will not be able to do because she has other responsibilities, she has to get married, she has to bear children. So all those is now not looked upon as a deterrent. Rather, it is felt that these things like getting married or having children or rearing the children, that is something which is contributing to the society. So that is also very important. That is the social obligation which a woman has to fulfill. So therefore, I feel that gender sensitivity is increasing slowly, and the type of gender discrimination which was there, it is not there. You will be also happy to know that when we used to talk of gross enrollment ratio, there was generally a gender gap of around 2%. Like GER for women was less than men GER by about 2%. But the last Aisha report said that the gender GER for girls was 0.1% higher than the men. Now, this is very small, 0.1%, but that tells the attitude that yes, women are coming forward. And you must have seen in all the convocations, it is the women who are taking all the medals. It is the women who are bagging all the first positions. So slowly, we are, I mean, it was a historical thing. So slowly, we are coming back, but we are taking over. Women are taking over, and very soon you will see that women are there in all walks of life. And maybe right now they say reservation should be there for women. Maybe in future men may require reservation, because women just need opportunity, and if they are given the opportunity, they can succeed.
Very nice, madam, because that is what I used to also say, that we are now going for women university and we are proud of that, but a day will come when we will need a men university, because that type of progression we are seeing. And I'm very happy that in skills particularly, and when we talk of skills, we established a women technology park in the Karnataka State University, looking into what skills exactly we have to encourage and how exactly we have to improve, because upskilling and sustainability, and also it is very important that everybody now should not be very perfect with one skill. There is a need of a skills which are multiple, so that as and when the situation changes, as and when new challenges come, they should be able to adapt, and that is what many people are doing now. So this is one way by which we can look for our future skills. Now again I want to come back to Mr. Dhruv Mathur, because as it is very important that these skills should be brought to the higher education institutions by new ideas, new concepts, and new technologies, where many times these private people are very fast because of one or the other reasons. So what way you will develop the new future skills according to the new challenges, and particularly with respect to, I was telling, multi-skill oriented education. So what are the views which you can consider as the one which we have to think in higher education institutions?
So I think before I jump on to that, I think just to add to what Dr. Mittal said, I think interestingly, this is more data on the government side, some quick data on the corporate side. And all of us have been hearing about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Another data says that 47% of the companies in India want to hire diversity, and out of which 95% are looking at women diversity, gender diversity specifically, we have to put it. So interestingly, a lot of scope for talented young women out there who are looking, even in the education side, even on the corporate side, because the demand for those women will increase from the corporate side, because they will have a certain specific targets while they hire. So that's an interesting change. To your question, Dr. Naik, on how the education leaders, what are the few specific recommendations for education leaders that they need to look at, considering the future of work or future skills that is going on? I'll put it in two ways. So one, before we move on the demand side, let's look at how the supply side is going on and look at it more from a corporate perspective, that what are the changes happening out there. So interestingly, if we look at data, another 50 million people will be requiring to be upskilled. And if you look at NASSCOM, they're saying around 4 million people is what we require. So out of those 4 million, 1 million will be the one who will be reskilled and upskilled within the educational institutes directly. From the corporates directly. The another 1 million will be from HEIs, which will be our higher education institutes, and another 1 to 2 million will be from the non-tech hiring space. So interestingly, the corporate side is shifting, and the skills that they are looking at is changing, and that's the reason why our education leaders also has to think differently. Now, from my personal recommendation perspective, I would advise for education leaders who are listening to this, put one person as your digital transformation leader, or one person as your maybe hire, maybe some existing employee who can look at all the digital transformation that is happening around. So that's one, and that person will have the key responsibility to drive the entire space. Once that is done, 4 more critical things if I have to talk about that they need to do is first look at the curriculum. and see how they can be mapped to the key niche skills which are currently required. The same can be done internally. The same can be outsourced to agencies so that the process is faster. Second, uplift your faculties. And I think I also shared this earlier. 85% of education leaders wants to do that. So uplift your faculty. Can we train them instead of hiring a third-party organization to directly do that? That can be the second ask. Third can be looking at continuous evaluation as a process. And I think that's something which a lot of educational institutes have started doing this. And when I say continuous evaluation, that's more linked to employability. A lot of educational institutes do this, but majorly do this at the final year when the students are trying to get a job or are in the process of getting placed. If the education or the openness of or the importance of employability skills can be trained or informed to students, let's say from second year onwards, and the learning can start from there onwards, I believe a lot of students, the current percentage with Dr. Mittal also shared, will increase drastically within the country. So I think that's one change, and this is a change I believe has to flow in both ways. Education leaders also needs to educate their students. Students also has to take this as an ownership for them. So that I think that will be third. Fourth and very critical, and I think you briefly touched upon the part, is the multidisciplinary piece or the multidisciplinary action. I think NEP also talks about it. Very, very critical, because what we are seeing is a learner's ecosystem evolving. Education 3.0, during the start of 2000, mobile data were there. So students were able to check which are the certification courses available. Currently, we are entering the stage of education 4.0. Data, mobile till tier 3 cities are absolutely easily available. Students can pick and choose whether they want to go for a hybrid mode, whether they want to go home specific training, other certification courses, giving more money out of it, is it in giving their degree. So basically the point that I'm trying to make is it's a learner specific ecosystem. And that's very critical for education leaders to put certain specific courses instead of putting our students to, let's say, a 3-year-long, 4-year-long course, and give them the option to choose, so that they can make their career as per their choice.
Thank you, Mr. Dhruv. It is a very interesting topic. In fact, when we talk of skill nowadays in our country, it is a limitless, because ocean is the way by which we have to find out what exactly we have to discuss and where we have to conclude. Government of India has Skill India program of our Prime Minister. Apart from that, the states like, for example, Government of Karnataka has very big skill-oriented programs, skill institutions, and many things, partnership with the private as well as people from abroad, and many things are happening around us. I can say that it is a very important time when we have thought over the future skills. And in Garden City University, where we are working now, we had a workshop of each department. We asked them to discuss what are the future skills where we have to train. And mostly the Garden City University has non-IT or non-engineering subjects like fashion designing or hospitality management, tourism, hotel management, physiotherapy, and other things. So I saw a lot of tremendous subjects and topics they discussed. Now I am requesting both you as well as Madam Dr. Pankaj Mittal, that there are many things which still gaps are there, because we have to, even though Sector Skill Council have identified many sectors, job tools also they have identified and doing a lot of work. But still we may find at the remote corner of our vast country, many skills which need the upliftment, which needs more tuning as well as marketing ideas. So I wish that such type of discussions will go on, and the contributions of university, government, private sector will make our country as desired by our present Prime Minister, as well as Abdul Kalam, who was the main person behind the change of our education scenario. We should become a superpower, and the skills are very important. So we will take this particular discussion as and when again we meet. And I thank the organizers for giving us an opportunity, all of us. If both of you have to have a final word regarding this particular theme, I request Dr. Pankaj Mittal to share with us, so that will carry as a message of this particular discussion.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Naik. I think future is of skill education. And one more thing which I think, I mean, when we are talking right now of skill, this is basically the skill of higher order. We are talking about IT or AI or IoT. But if we talk of skill of a lower order, not exactly lower order, but like carpentry or maybe electrician or plumbing and all. So these are also the skills which are required in our society, and without that we cannot work. But the prestige is not associated with this skill. So I will never say that I want my son to be an electrician or a plumber or a carpenter, because we don't associate prestige with this skill. So there is a need that the skill and the prestige should go hand in hand, and prestige should be associated with all the skills, whether it is blue collared, white collared, higher level, lower level, because everybody is required in the society, and society cannot work with unless everybody coexists. Therefore, skill education is very, very important. And the NEP also says that at present 5% of our education students are skilled, whereas we should be reaching 50%. And in other countries, it is something like 70%, 80%, 90%. So skill education is important for everybody, irrespective of whatever discipline they are pursuing or whatever program they are pursuing. So skill is something which is going to stay, and skill is something without which we will not be able to stay. So skills are important. They should be given due importance.
Thank you, madam. Mr. Dhruv, any last word?
I think I would just like to highlight that while, of course, COVID has given a hit to educational institutes, I think this is also a great opportunity. I mean, that's how I see it. While I think everybody has been talking about online edtech and that space which is growing from, and if you look at data, it says that by 2024 from 18, it will grow by 45 CAGR. Even online higher education, as per data, will grow by 42%. And that's a big, big number to look at. A lot of colleges in UK, US have partnered with edtech firms like Coursera or edX, where they're giving short, specific virtual courses, certifications which are very less on cost and are giving a great high on the top line. So my only suggestion in the word to all the education leaders is to think of it as a great opportunity and see and understand more from how learners are changing, and drive your courses, drive your curriculum, drive your plan as how learners see it.
Thank you, Mr. Dhruv. And as I said, it is an endless topic which we can discuss a lot, because there are several avenues and several challenges. I thank personally both the speaker, Dr. Pankaj Mittal, as well as Mr. Dhruv, and the organizers for making this particular session quite attractive. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Naik, for moderating in an excellent manner.
Thank you.